What is poppin', people? You got Jay Bear here with another SPL coach interview before the season. And this time we have one of the most popular, I would say, Wi-Fi players, one of the best Wi-Fi players from Gen 8 and Gen 9, Mr. Mounte, joining us. How are you doing? And if you want to give us a quick background on what you do Draft League Pokemon-wise, and if you played any singles, doubles, all sorts of the stuff for Draft League.
Yeah, sure. Well, thanks for having me. My name is Maute, and I do draft league singles primarily. This is actually my first BGC draft or doubles draft, so kind of learning on the fly here, but I'm excited about getting good at doubles and testing myself against some really great players. So
Have you
I'm
played
pretty
like
excited
any,
about it.
have you played like any like VGC, not necessarily draft, but like just happen to play it like on a ladder or something?
Yeah, I used to play it a lot in Gen 8 actually. I wouldn't say a lot, but back before I knew about genning, um, I just had mons that I bred in my Switch game, and in order to get them good, you needed like special, you needed like the bottle caps and stuff like that. And the easiest way to get those things was to just level up to Master Ball rank on like the online ladder in the game. So I would get to Master Ball in VGC like every month, um, but I didn't particularly love it. Like, I think recently I've become more of a fan of it after watching. It was actually watching Wolf versus I think it was Marco Silva in the Toronto regionals. I watched that game and I was like, whoa, you know what? This is actually pretty cool because I never really watched too much high level doubles, and yeah, so I'm into it.
Yeah, that was, I think, one of like the best sets in recent memory was that Wolf Marco set, especially because I was like very like impactful for Wolf, but also like this was Marco's like regulation. I feel like regulation H, but um, just going off of that with, you're one of the most accomplished singles draft league creators, but do you have any like season goals because it's doubles? Are you still thinking you're gonna bring your full on like Mr. Mounte winning everything type of mentality, or are you gonna do you have any other do you have expectations? Have you lightened up on yourself at all?
Um, that's the thing. I can't do that. I
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I'm shooting for the championship for sure. Um, which I don't know how realistic that is, obviously, because I don't have as much experience as pretty much anyone in the league. Um, but I think if I draft a good team um, and prep accordingly, I should be able to at least win some games. My goal is to make playoffs. Say that.
It's a fair goal, and because you like haven't necessarily played as much doubles as some of the other coaches, but like you have a lot of singles experience. What do you see like from your singles sort of play style? Are you gonna try to like emulate that in the doubles when you're building the teams, or how do you foresee like that impacting like your drafting and team building phases?
I don't know if I'm necessarily going to try and play like a singles player. I don't even know what that would mean in the context of doubles, to be honest. Um, there's going to be some growing pains I foresee because there's a lot of like niche techs that I'm just unaware of, I'm sure. Um, and the things that I do like think are smart or like discover, like, oh, everybody knows about this already. Okay. Um, as I've been like trying to research for this league. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's hard. It's a hard thing to answer without like having actually done any VGC prep before.
Yeah.
Like I've never had a VGC draft game, so honestly, we're all gonna be learning together.
Yeah.
How good is Bounty at VGC? Nobody knows.
Are you getting some outside support for the season, or are you kind of just trying to take it all in yourself and trying to like learn as like just an individual, or are you getting like coaching or anything?
There were a couple of people I reached out to for help. So CB Marcus and Sven Thune. Um, so they've been giving me some support during the drafting phase. At this point, during recording, I've only drafted one Mon so far, and so they've been giving me ideas for like, you know, other cores that I'm not going to be doing anymore because I didn't end up getting the mons that were on the board. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, they've been helping. I don't know if I'm going to be like mocking with them or anyone. Not sure. I haven't asked, but yeah, I'll probably try and find someone to help me out during like the mocking phase for sure.
That's yeah, that's important. I think even like the best are always like you need to, iron sharpens iron, diamond sharpen diamond. That sort of mentality. It's hard to like play Pokemon alone. Obviously, like you need someone to play against, but also people to prep with. I think is one of the most important things to find success. And
For
kind
sure.
of zooming out from the season and more so into the Pokemon sphere in general, what are some of your like favorite Pokemon, I guess, just like design wise, aesthetically, and some of them like competitively, or if they like kind of overlap at all?
My answer to this is usually Blastoise. Uh, just love that guy. I'm a legit Gen 1er, so got some nostalgia favoritism there. Competitively, I think last time I was asked this, I said Zeraora, and I think that is probably still the case. I don't know.
Yeah.
At least for draft,
Yeah, it sucks
Love the
Zera isn't
flexibility
in
of that one.
the gen, but
Yeah, that guy. Although I am in a tournament right now where we have to have a Gen 9 team, a Gen 8 team, and a Gen 7 team, and I do have Zera on my Gen 8 team.
oh, that's nice.
Makes
At
me
least
happy.
you're not missing out on it too much. And I know you play some, not all, but like a lot of the high level like draft league team tours, the DPLs, the DCLs, and stuff like that to get your old gen fixes. So,
Yeah.
what is the favorite format of Pokemon that you've ever played? It can be like a generation or like even like an Ubers or like a low tier type of thing. What's like the favorite league, like I guess format that you played?
I would say probably Gen 8. I did think I liked Gen 9 more up until quite recently. I realized I don't really like Terra that much. Um, it's just the variance it adds to the game. Like it's cool, don't get me wrong, but I feel like it just adds like an extra layer of unpredictability that the game just frankly doesn't need, in my opinion. So I think I like Gen 8 because there's just like no gimmicks to it. And there's no like Z moves. I mean, there's Dynamax, LOL, but no one plays with that. So yeah, I would say probably Gen 8.
Yeah, seems like a not necessarily straightforward format. I think Gen 8 still has like a lot more. It kind of felt solved, and then I want to say like in like recent years, like it's been very innovated again, and I want to say part of that was just because like the lack of gimmick and also like COVID aligning with Gen 8. It feels like people played a league or a year's worth of Pokemon in about like 3 months, which really like accelerated that generation.
For sure.
And
I should mention actually, well, when you were asking me that, I reminded myself that I did actually play in somewhat of a doubles league. So I guess I sort of lied when I said I haven't prepped for a VGC game, because I did play in a league with Sven, and it was like what do you call it? Multi-battle league. You hear about this?
Yeah.
So there's actually 2 people, and like both of your mods can Terra, so it's not exactly the same.
Yeah.
But so that was like the foundation of my my VGC experience.
I remember like Gen 6, Gen 7, there was like a few multi-battle leagues that popped up, and those always really entertained me just because it was doubles, but it also was like 2 people, which I think was like another layer, as you get to like hear that back and forth thought process. But obviously we don't have that this time around.
I did enjoy that quite a bit. So I would rank that pretty high in formats that I've enjoyed. Yeah.
And then kind of another double specific question for you, I guess, but have you played any like best of 3 Pokemon other than like the multi-gen tournaments, I guess, where you have to like do 6, 7 or 7, 8, 9? I guess you need like a best of 3 for that, but like with the same team, have you ever done like a best of 3, or is this VGC going to be the first time where you do that?
Yeah, this is actually the first time for that.
How are you feeling
That'll
about
be
it?
interesting. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be. I'll have to sort of change the way I prep, because I feel like a lot of value you get out of like a singles game, at least in draft, is some surprise factor. Not that I always like need to have that or anything, but I think this is just like obviously going to be less impactful in a best of 3 format. So yeah, it's going to change the way I approach building, I think, a little bit. Not that um, a surprise factor is not going to be helpful. Like, it'll be helpful for one game, of course. You just need to have like a solid draft to back it up for game 2 and 3.
Yeah, it tests your fundamentals a little bit more, I guess. Kind of, I think prep is still valuable, but it kind of like changes how the value of prep is.
Yeah.
And going into this season, is there anyone who you like want to call out in the league? Like anyone who you're looking forward to potentially battling, and maybe want to, like, if you're gonna finish ahead of someone, you want to finish ahead of this person?
Not really anything like that, but I definitely want to play Cybertron because I know he's very renowned and an excellent player. Really, I would love to just face any of like the doubles mains, because obviously they're excellent at the format, and it would be just the perfect way to test my skills against them, and that's something I like doing a lot. Just kind of like seeing where I stand. So
Yeah.
it would be great to play him and like any of the other big VGC dogs that are in the league.
Yeah. It's like, I feel like I've said this in every interview now that I've done, but it's like, it's awesome seeing like all of the draft people that I feel like I see in like the leagues in my sub box, but then also getting the chance to like see all of the VGC people that I see also in my sub box on Twitter, all that sort of stuff. And it's like 20 coaches. It's like a really star-studded lineup, and like I feel like there's no wrong answer for who you want to battle.
For sure. Yeah. Pretty much everybody is a great opponent. So yeah, I'm excited to see the schedule once it comes out.
And then going a little bit more broad scope again, what got you started in Pokemon? You said you were a Gen 1er with Blastoise, but was that you played Pokemon Red and Blue first, or?
Yeah, I started on Yellow actually as a kid, and played. Didn't really play too much after that. Like, I was definitely obsessed with it as a kid, and then stopped caring. And then what got me back in was I went on a road trip with my buddy, well, with a couple buddies, but one guy, we both brought our old Game Boys and like decided that when we weren't driving, we would be playing our Game Boys and training up teams. And this is like Gen 1, but at this point we're like 20 years old. And then we battled at the end. And then honestly, I like discovered Smogon. And I remember him being like, yeah, apparently like Persian is really good and Tauros. I was like, what? That's crazy, man. I'm here rocking Charizard and Dragonite. Anyway, just my love of the game grew from that. And as I like discovered the complexities of modern battling, just really got into it.
And how'd you discover Draft League?
Just through Pokegame.
Oh, that's awesome.
When he was doing, I think it was Gen 7 that I discovered it. And then I did try, I tried a random showdown league in Gen 7, but it fell apart after like week 6. And then I was like, I guess you have to be in like a big league for things to not, or for like a well-run league to be done. So I kind of lost interest after that, and then joined again halfway through Gen 8, and the rest is history.
Yeah, and because you came Gen 8, I assume you started, like when you started uploading on Wi-Fi, but because you played in some of these big showdown tournaments, is there like a difference in how you approach like the Wi-Fi and the showdown side of things, or is it all just Pokemon to you?
No, I mean, I do like to scout my opponents, and so it makes it a bit easier on Wi-Fi, because you can actually get their thought process, versus just like watching a replay. So I would say I could prep a little more in depth based on that from like Wi-Fi games, but honestly, no, it doesn't really change.
And like your scouting process, is that just like pulling up like videos of like that league or like recent leagues for them and just like kind of watching and listening?
Yeah, pretty much. I'll try and take notes about things like the style of lead. Like some people just have like a particular way that they like to lead, or just like general prep tendencies and like patterns in play, stuff like that.
Yeah. I feel like it's something that I like try to do. It's like in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, this person's played in this like league. I have like a whole breadth of information on them. Let's go scout. And then I feel like I don't have the patience for it, but it's awesome to hear that like you do. And that is that like something that you attribute to like making you successful?
I think it's helped for sure. Yeah. Um, it takes a bit of the guessing games out of my prep process sometimes, so that can be helpful for sure. And I don't necessarily use the information when I'm like in game. I never really think about it unless I'm really familiar with the person.
Yeah.
And like I really know how they play. Like if it's someone I've played a lot or like I mock often, then I don't. But then I don't even need to think about it. But it's really more for the prep phase that I find that scouting is valuable.
And when you prep, do you often like, because I know in like doubles, one of the things that I really like to do is like try to prep with specific leads in mind, and I think that's something different. Is like in singles, I like to prep with like sometimes like a dedicated lead, but I feel like in BGC, I like to think about like not necessarily just having one lead, but because it's game best of three, maybe having like 2 or 3 leads. Do you foresee yourself like kind of just trying to like sequence straight off a lead and prep? Is that something that you're going to try to do?
I'll try for sure. I don't know how successful I'll be, having never attempted. It sounds hard to do. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Because there's so much variant, like so many different interactions and like combinations. So, I'm sure I'm gonna try my best at that because I do like to do that as well. Like dedicated leads is usually something I try to do with my singles games, but yeah, I'll have to take a different approach for this, like adapt on the fly pretty often.
That got me to the end of my prepared questions for you. But are there any last notes that you'd like to leave to the viewers? Give them like one last sell yourself, and we'll direct them to subscribe to you.
Guys, thanks for watching. You're listening to your future SPL VGC champion, Mounte. And please subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you heard it here first. Mounte, SPL VGC Season 3 champion. And be sure to subscribe to Mounte and all of the other SPL Season 3 coaches down in the description below. And I will catch you guys with the next interview next time. Peace.